Hi everyone, how are we feeling? Good. It's been a minute, you've been sitting. You are gonna get to stand up in a second. My name is Rachel, or Ray is absolutely fine. I'm here to talk to you about defending oneself. If we can go to the next slide, Shoshana, or did I go too fast? So I was invited here by Simon as the artist advocate and liaison for SHIM NYC through Thomas Dot. I am also a bunch of other things if you click 4 times. You can just keep clicking, it's fine. Go to the next slide. One more. So first of all, I want to shout out SHIM if you're not familiar with the program already. This was a pilot program, and if you give it one more click, it will tell you more than I'm about to say. But this is a safe haven for musicians specifically, looking to see what does it mean to actually support a musician who's been resettled. We were housing it in New York. As we see, we have one of, and I'm going to be careful to say one of because there's 2 here. One of my favorite SHIM residents, Mike Hoy, right on the picture there. It was a very wonderful project. Right now we're on a hiatus and reviewing a lot of what we found through that. I'm also, if we go to the next slide, the program manager for Empowerment Self-Defense at the Center for Anti-Violence Education. If you give it one more click. This is a New York City-based organization that serves all 5 boroughs and beyond, providing different ways to help prevent, disrupt, and heal from violence. My part of that is doing safety and self-defense trainings, de-escalation trainings, awareness, preparedness trainings as well. But we also have youth empowerment and a lot of anti-oppression and advocacy work. Beyond that, I'm also one of the co-founders. If we go to the next slide, this is the old presentation, it's okay. It's all right. Shoshana, you can go back 1 slide. So I'm going to shout out 2 other things since the slides aren't in there, but that's all right. I'm the co-founder of Enough Self-Defense, which is a queer self-defense program that is run by queer people for queer people, that was developed off of preliminary research that I did interviewing 30 people across the queer and trans experience to see really what were their needs around keeping themselves safe. We do these mainly in queer spaces like nightclubs and bars during the day to try to keep it fun and find ways to empower ourselves while also not being like so enmeshed in the violence of it. And then I also, on one of the slides, said I'm a combat specialist for Bloody Mary, which you can talk to me about later, but that's a creative project that's been going on for quite some time. It involves a lot of different things, and the tagline is, can only be experienced, not explained. So again, if you want to come, I'll let you know when it's happening. But the reason I'm going into all of this talking before I jump into why I'm here is that all of you are here because we are somehow involved in the advocacy and agency of artists. Is that fair to say? There's no outliers? Okay, great. Round of applause for all of you, because that's an amazing thing to do. When I first started to get in contact with Thomas Dot, I had a coffee with Matthew Covey, and I was like, look, I know all of these things seem like they're random. I don't know, they just all feel right. And he looked at me like it was the easiest solution in the world and was like, you just like empowering people. And to me, this was like a huge light bulb moment. And what that led me to later on, as I started delving more and more into this path, was that to empower others, to be someone that stands up and advocates for other people, I really needed to first have a handle on my own safety, my own agency, and my own level of risk that I'm comfortable with. As we go about this work, as we try to show up for each other, we have to also be doing that continually. So if you'll indulge me, I'm going to put on a very different hat in my CAE world and run you through a little bit of a self-defense workshop, if that's okay with everybody. It'll be super quick. So if we go to the next slide, when we're thinking about self-defense is something that we are kind of constantly doing. Wherever you came from, whether it was via plane, train, whatever, from out of the city or just down the block, you are already practicing self-defense, and I know that because you are here sitting relatively unharmed in this moment. So I'm not here to tell you that you don't know how to keep yourself safe. You do already know how to do that. But it's something we're constantly doing, because unfortunately we cannot control the violence that's in the world. If I could, I would just get rid of it like that and then do something else with my life, probably bake cakes. But we can't do that, so instead we have to be constantly aware of our safety. There's a before, a during, and an after to this. Listening to self-defense demos like you're about to experience is part of that before. Remembering to take your keys with you. Who has their location shared with someone trusted on their phone? Yeah. Who makes sure that they're not sharing their location, their details, their information publicly so that they're safe? Yes. All of that is prevention. All of that is part of self-defense. During is what we do when we sense that there is potential or already occurring danger. That's verbal de-escalation. That's making sure that we're getting out of the way. That's physical self-defense skills. That's when we have danger and we have to navigate that danger to get safe. We've actually heard a few stories of that this morning already, of people navigating different ways to get themselves to safety. Because again, it's never your fault if someone brings violence to your life. We can't control that. We can only control how we respond. And then a big, big part that often gets overlooked when we're doing this work is the after. We have to make sure we're taking time to heal from what we've experienced. That doesn't mean we get to stop. A lot of us don't have the luxury of taking a sabbatical, of actually stopping what we're doing. And I think people in this room, especially as things are going forward, your lines of work, there is a necessity to keep going. So instead of having times of big rest and reset that are lovely, we also have to find ways to heal as we keep going forward. Instead of thinking like I sprinted and now I can go rest, it's more of like a marathon that I'm drinking my sports drink and then I'm still going on my way. Okay, so we have to find ways to do that. If we go to the next slide. And just to say that this is everything and anything you do to keep yourself safe and your community. We're gonna go to the next one. At CE, they have a little acronym. I'm not a big fan of acronyms, but if it helps, called BAPS. So if you just click again. The first part of BAPS is to take a breath. So one more click. Yeah, and I heard everyone do it. So this is good because breath is calming. It's free right now. So whenever we're taking a breath, it's also a conscious thing that you are telling your body to do. So when you find yourself in a situation, you ever get that gut feeling that something's wrong and you're not really sure what yet? Does anyone know that feeling? Like you're just on edge suddenly? Tell yourself to take a breath. Because you've just told yourself to do something and then executed it. It's gonna keep you more in a conscious mindset instead of passively responding to what's going on around you. The next step is awareness. So if we go to the next one, we need to check in with ourselves. Am I in a place where I'm activated and on edge, where I can't actually think correctly? Or I'm in a place where I could be of aid to others and myself? The other type of awareness we need to have is what's going on. So I want you all to, as quickly as you can, point to the exit nearest to you. Is there another exit? I see people correcting people up there. Is there another exit? Is there another exit? Amazing. I want you to look around the space and notice something you didn't notice when you came in. I didn't notice that there is a small window up in the back there. I can see it now because now I'm standing here. So just something you weren't aware of when you came in the room. What are you noticing? I see Simon pointing at something. So just taking something in. And now I want you to identify a person in the room that you could go to for support. Amazing, amazing. What's something near you that you could use as a distraction? I brought my cup of coffee up here for a reason. I see a phone, I see a water, I see lots of wonderful things. Great. So being aware of what's around us, what could help, what also could hurt. There was lots of mentions of involvement with police, with different situations, with ICE. Who's in the room that can help? Who's in the space that can hurt? Getting down past these chairs, I've watched and myself done the whole to get around. That's something you might have to navigate if you need to be safe, right? The next step of this is positionality. You're gonna be considering how your position, both actually in the space and your actual held identities and abilities are going to impact the way you can navigate this situation. Right now, I'm dressed fairly nice. I have an American accent. I'm white and I'm femme presenting. Those things in certain situations are going to elevate my level of safety. That's not fair or correct. It also is just true. So knowing that about yourself and also the people that you're with and how to navigate that together is going to be an important thing to keep in mind. And the last step is safety. So how can I increase safety? I think is actually something that y'all are thinking about abstractly a lot. But for folks that want to, I'm going to invite you to stand actually for a second. And you want to you want to stand with your feet like about hip distance apart. I know we're all in very confined spaces, but if you can, put one foot a little bit forward. Good. I want you to make your hips and knees soft. Lovely. And then I want you to take your chin slightly in. Like you're like, that's what you decided to wear today. Right here. And then I want you to have your hands up. Not panicked, but kind of in front of you, just like this. Okay? This is what we call safety stance at CAE. I'm standing in a place that I'm grounded but not stuck. I'm angling my body in a way that I can keep myself a little bit safer if something comes at me. I'm engaging my neck so that if I get bumped, I don't get dizzy, I don't have as much issue with my neck. And I'm having my hands up and available, one, so that I can use them, and two, so that I can communicate to this person without my words and to other people around me that there's something going on. Now, I'm not suggesting every moment of your life that you feel uncomfortable, you're like, in full confession, I do stand like this at the bar every time I'm out and talk with my hands like this because it is a little bit safer in my body, okay? Thank you all for engaging me in that little thing. Round of applause for your first self-defense. So when we're thinking about safety, when we're thinking about self-defense, we have all these different ways of keeping ourselves safe. When I mentioned the aftercare, if we go to the next slide, if we do experience something, if you do experience harm, if you do experience someone trying to cause violence, it is going to have an impact on you. And I think we think about this in a heady, emotional way, but it's also in your nervous system, and your body wants to keep you safe. So if you experience harm, or even just how much we're hearing about it, we have to have ways to respond to that. So if we can just click through, we want to connect with others. Know who in your life you can sit your stuff down around. Know who you can, yes, relax with, right? If we go to the next one, we also want to allow our feelings to arise. Anytime we're confronted with something, we want to make sure that we're holding space for that we're not judging how we feel about it. How you feel is how you feel, and bottling it up isn't going to help. So if we go three more clicks, I think. We also want to return to our breath, which we're not going to do right now, but we will in a minute. Next click. And I think 3 more clicks. And then the last one is to engage in care practices. I find that people that work in advocacy or any sort of caretaking role for others are particularly bad at this. You need to have things that you are regularly doing because you like doing them. And I say regularly, and that is important to do. It is not superfluous, it's not something you can put off. You need to do that because if you lose your sense of self, you will not be able to help other people anymore. If you experience harm or violence, going to one of those activities is going to act as an anchor to help you have a place to heal from. Now, I know that we're all rushing on time and I'm talking a little bit fast to try to get through things, but I want to touch on, if we go one more slide, to something that came up about how this has to do with community. When I'm working with New Yorkers, one of the things that I find myself telling them to do, my first instruction, is to go to their bodegas once a week, to go to the local pizza shop and have a slice every couple weeks, to know the people that work at the fruit stands, to know the guy that works at the coffee truck. Make sure they know who you are as well. Because whenever we have those connections, when people know who we are, we're giving them a sense of our baseline. And then if something goes wrong, they can show up for us. But we have to first be in community with people. You can't expect people to care. I hear everyone say, well, no one did anything. And it's kind of like, yes, because you have to make that investment first and continually. You cannot expect for community to show up if you have not built it. So the work that you all do here in building community, in not just giving people a house or a stipend, but making sure they know where the coffee shop is, making sure they know where the good plays are, where the good places for live music are. Those types of things can help increase people's safety in a way that is real and tangible and so crucial to keeping going forward, especially when the big things that are going on right now are so loud. So keeping that in mind, we've heard the slogan, if we go to the next slide, we keep us safe a lot, especially during the pandemic. So just something to keep in mind that that's something that we're doing, that's something that we're practicing. That BAPS that I took you through, as we hear new things coming in, as our friends have shared how that hits, take a breath. Get aware of what's going on. Think about your positionality, what you're positioned to do, where you can help, where you might need help. And then we're gonna start making moves to how can I increase safety, all right? And I do wanna say thank you, but I do also wanna do 2 breaths if I can impose for 15 seconds for that. I'm gonna do a box breath with you all. We're gonna breathe in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, and hold for 4. 2 times through. If you want to plant your feet on the ground, that'll be helpful. So ready? Breathing in, 2, 3, 4, and hold. 2, 3, 4, breathing out. And hold. One more time, breathing in. And hold. Breathing out, and hold. Thank you all so much. Look forward to talking about that.